No begin from matter, darkness. The reason they are in darkness is simple. If one goes from darkness to light, he thinks that darkness is the beginning. Suppose you have been in darkness all your life and now you suddenly come into the light. You will think, oh, light has come from darkness. Actually, darkness occurs when light becomes dim. Darkness does not produce light. Dr. Singh, then darkness is dependent on light? Srila Prabhupada, yes. Or in other words, in the light, there is no darkness. When the light is dim, then we experience darkness. Similarly, when our spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness is dim, our consciousness is material. In the morning, we awaken, and at the end of the day, we become tired and go to sleep. When life is somehow or other interrupted, we sleep. We sleep at night. Uh, we sleep at night, and when we get up in the morning, we understand that our wakefulness or life has not come into existence from the sleepy condition. I was alive even while I slept, and on awakening, I am still alive. This should be clearly understood. A baby comes from the womb of his mother. He thinks that his life has begun from the day he comes out of the womb, but that is not the fact. Actually, he is eternal. He constructed his material body within the womb and his mother while he was unconscious. And as soon as his bodily features were sufficiently developed, he came out of the womb and again to consciousness, Dr. Singh. And he again fall asleep to death. Srila Prabhupada, yes, that is described in Bhagavad Gita 8.19. Again and again the day comes, and this host of being is active, and again night falls, O Partha, and they are helplessly dissolved. We are not these bodies. Srila Prabhupada, do you see this flower? It has come back to consciousness, and soon it will dry up and die. This is material life, but spiritual life means to flower only, no dissolution. This is the difference between matter and spirit. I have achieved this body according to my consciousness in my last life, and I'll receive my next body according to my consciousness in this life. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 8.6. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, the state he will attain without fail. Dr. Singh, Srila Prabhupada, in our next body, if our next body is always achieved by our consciousness in this life, how is it that I cannot remember my previous life? Srila Prabhupada, do you remember everything you did last year or even yesterday? Dr. Singh, no, I don't. Srila Prabhupada, that is your nature, you forget. Dr. Singh, some things, Srila Prabhupada, and somebody forgets more than others, but we all forget. Dr. Singh, is that a principle of material nature? Srila Prabhupada, yes, it is something like stealing. Somebody is a pickpocket and somebody is a bank robber, but both of them are stealing. Dr. Singh, when we dream, are we being carried away by the subtle elements? Srila Prabhupada, you are being carried away by nature. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 3.27, the beloved spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself to be the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by nature. We forget our real identity because we are under the grip of material nature. The first lesson in spiritual life is that we are not these bodies, but eternal spirit souls. Once you were a child, now you are a grown man. Where is your childhood body? That body does not exist, but you still exist because you are eternal. The circumstantial body has changed, but you have not changed. This is the proof of eternity. You remember that you did certain things yesterday and certain things today, but you forget other things. Your body of yesterday is not today's body. Do you admit it or not? You cannot say that today is the 13th of May 1973. You cannot say that today is yesterday. The okay. The 13th was yesterday. The day has changed, but you remember yesterday, and that remembrance is evidence of your eternality. The body has changed, but you remember it. Therefore, you are eternal. Although the body is temporary, this proof is very simple. Even a child can understand it. Is it difficult to understand? Changing bodies. Dr. Singh. People want more proof. Srila Prabhupada. What more is required? The eternality of the soul is a simple fact. I am an eternal soul. My body is changing, but I am not changing. For example, I am now an old man. Sometimes I think, oh, I used to jump and play, but now I cannot jump because my body has changed. I want to jump, but I cannot do it. That jumping propensity is eternal, but because of my old body, I cannot do it. Dr. Singh. Opponents will say that according to their observation, the nature of consciousness is that it lasts for only one body. Srila Prabhupada. That is foolishness. In Bhagavad Gita 2.3, Krishna explains, as the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Just as this body is always changing, as I can see in my daily experience, there is a similar change at the time of death. Dr. Singh. But according to the scientist, we cannot actually observe this last change. Srila Prabhupada. Their eyes are so imperfect that they cannot observe many, many things. Their ignorance does not make the Bhagavad Gita unscientific. Why don't the scientists admit the imperfection of their senses? They must first admit the imperfection of their senses. Their seeing power does not determine what is and what is not science. Dogs cannot understand the laws of nature. Does that mean the law of nature does not don't exist? Dr. Singh. Well, the scientists admit that argument, but they say the way to become perfect is through objective information and experience. Srila Prabhupada. No, that is not the way to become perfect. No one can become perfect through imperfect thinking, and our thinking must be imperfect because our senses and minds are imperfect. Dr. Singh. Srila Prabhupada, another question can be raised. Is it not possible that the soul may accept 3, 4, or 5 bodies and then die? Srila Prabhupada, you are accepting you are accepting millions of bodies. I say that your body of yesterday is not your body of today. So if you live for 100 years, how many times have your body changed? Just calculate. Dr. Singh, 13. Srila Prabhupada, why 13? Dr. Singh, medical science says that all the bodily cells are replaced every 7 years. Srila Prabhupada, no, not every 7 years, every second. Every second, the blood corpuscles are changing. Is it not so? Dr. Singh, yes. Srila Prabhupada, and as soon as the blood corpuscles change, you change your body. Dr. Singh, in scientific terminology, can the eternality of the soul be compared to conservation of energy? Srila Prabhupada, there is no question of the conservation of energy because energy is always existing. Dr. Singh, but according to scientific terminology, the law of conservation of energy is that energy cannot be created or destroyed, which means I think that it is eternal. Srila Prabhupada, oh yes, that we admit Krishna is eternal, therefore all his energies are eternal. Dr. Singh, is that why the living entity is so also eternal? Srila Prabhupada, yes. If the sun is eternal, its energies, heat and light are also eternal. Dr. Singh, does it follow from this then that life cannot be created or destroyed? Srila Prabhupada, yes, life is eternal. It is not created or destroyed. It is only temporarily covered. I am eternal, but last night I was covered by sleep. So I think in terms of yesterday and today. This is the condition of material world.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Rajdeep Prabhu, can you read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Everything is spiritual. Dr. Singh. Is material consciousness the absence of Krishna consciousness? Srila Prabhupada. Yes. Dr. Singh. And when there is Krishna consciousness, where is material nature? Srila Prabhupada. If you continue in Krishna consciousness, you will see that nothing is material. When you offer a flower to Krishna, it is not material. Krishna will not accept anything material. And this does not mean that the flower is material on the bush and then it becomes spiritual when you offer it to Krishna. No, the flower is material only as long as you think that it is made for your enjoyment. But as soon as you see that it is for Krishna's enjoyment, you see it as it really is spiritual. Dr. Singh. So the entire world is actually spiritual. Srila Prabhupada. Yes. Therefore, we want to engage everything in Krishna's service. That is the spiritual world. Dr. Singh. Can we also appreciate Krishna's creation in that light? For example, we think the tree is very beautiful because it is Krishna's property. Srila Prabhupada. Yes. That is Krishna consciousness. Dr. Singh, if someone looks at the deity of Krishna in the temple and thinks that it is only stone or wood, what does that mean? Srila Prabhupada, he is ignorant of the facts. How can the deity be material? Stone is also Krishna's energy, just as electric energy is everywhere, but only the electricians know how to utilize it. So Krishna is everywhere, even in this stone, but only his devotees know how to utilize a stone to appreciate Krishna. The devotees know that stone cannot exist outside of Krishna. Therefore, when the devotees see the deity, they say, "Here is Krishna." They see the real oneness of Krishna and his energy, simultaneously one and different. Dr. Singh, is it true that Krishna conscious persons perceive Krishna in a plain stone as much as in the deity carved from stone? Srila Prabhupada, yes. Dr. Singh, just as much. Srila Prabhupada, yes, why not? In the Bhagavad Gita 9.4, Krishna says, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina mat sthani sarva bhutani na chaham tesha avasthita. This means that Krishna's energy, that is, Krishna in his partially manifested form, pervades every atom of the universe. But his fully manifested personal form is present in the deity shaped according to his directions. This is the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva, the simultaneous oneness and difference of God and his energies. For example, when the sunshine is in your room, that does not mean that sun itself is in your room. The sun and its separated energies like heat and light are one in quality but different in quantity. Dr. Singh, but still you say that one can see Krishna in ordinary stone. Srila Prabhupada, yes, why not? We see the stone as Krishna's energy. Dr. Singh, but can we worship him within the stone? Srila Prabhupada, we can worship him through his energy in this stone, but we cannot worship the stone as Krishna. We cannot worship this bench as Krishna, but we can worship everything because we see everything as Krishna's energy. This tree is worshipable because both Krishna and his energy are worshipable, but it does not mean we worship the tree in the same way as we worship the deity of Krishna in the temple. In my childhood, I was taught by my parents never to waste Krishna's energy. They taught me that if even a small grain of rice was stuck between the floorboards, I should pick it up, touch it to my forehead, and eat it to save it from being wasted. I was taught how to see everything in relation to Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. We therefore do not like to see anything wasted or misused. We are teaching our disciples how to use everything for Krishna and how to understand that everything is Krishna. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 6.30, Yo mam pashyanti sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasya ham na pranashyami sacha me na pranashyati. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost nor he is ever lost to me. The 11th morning walk, recorded on May 15, 1973 in the Cheviot Hills Park, Los Angeles. Detecting the spiritual soul. Dr. Singh. Scientists find it very hard to see the spirit soul. They say its existence is very doubtful. Srila Prabhupada. How can they see it? It is too small to see. Who has that seeing power? Dr. Singh. Still, they want to sense it by some means. Srila Prabhupada. If you inject someone with just 1/100th of a grain of very venomous poison, he dies immediately. No one can see that the poison, no one can see the poison or how it acts, but it is acting nevertheless. So why don't the scientists see the soul by its action? In such cases, we have to see by the effect. The Vedas say that because of the minute particle called the soul, the whole body is working nicely. If I pinch myself, I immediately feel it because I am conscious throughout the whole of my skin. But as soon as the soul is out of my body, which is the case when my body dies, you can take the same skin and cut and chop it, and nobody will protest. Why is this simple thing so hard to understand? Is this not detecting spirit? Dr. Singh, we may detect the soul in this way, but what about God? Srila Prabhupada, first of all, let us understand the soul. The soul is a sample God. If you can understand the sample, then you can understand the whole. Modern science help or harm? Dr. Singh, scientists are in the process of trying to create life. Srila Prabhupada, process of trying to that we kick out, that we do not accept. A beggar is saying, I am trying to be a millionaire. We say, when you become a millionaire, then talk. Now you are a poor beggar. That is all. The scientists say that they are trying, but suppose I ask you, what are you? Will you say, I am trying to be? What are you now? That is the question. We are trying is not a proper answer. What to speak of a scientific proposition? Dr. Singh, well, although they have not been able to create life so far, they said that soon they should be able to do so. Srila Prabhupada, any rascal may say that. If you say, in the future I shall be able to do something extraordinary, why should I trust or believe you? Dr. Singh, well, the scientists say they have done so much in the past and they will accomplish more in the future. Srila Prabhupada, in the past there was death and people are dying now. So what have scientists done? Dr. Singh helped them. Srila Prabhupada, scientists have helped to minimize the duration of life. Formerly men lived 100 years. Nowadays, seldom live more than 60 or 70 years. And the scientists have discovered atomic energy. Now they can kill millions of men. So they have helped only in dying. They have not helped in living, and still they dare to declare that they will create. Dr. Singh, but now we have airplanes and Srila Prabhupada, the scientists cannot stop death, they cannot stop birth, they cannot stop disease, and they cannot stop old age. So what have they done? Formerly people used to become old and nowadays they are becoming old. Formerly people used to become diseased and now they are becoming diseased. Now there is more medicine and more disease. So what have they accomplished? Scientists have not helped improve the orders of the world. We are going to challenge all the rascal scientists who say that life has grown out of matter. The fact is that matter has grown from life. The illusion of progress. Srila Prabhupada. How long can science cheat people? 100 years, 200 years, they cannot cheat them for all time. Dr. Singh, cheating has been going on since time immemorial, so perhaps they think they can continue forever. Srila Prabhupada, not since time immemorial. Science has been cheating people for only the past 2 or 300 years, not before that. Dr. Singh, oh really? Srila Prabhupada, yes, for the last 200 years they have been preaching that life comes from matter, not for thousands of years, and the cheating will be finished in another 50 years. Dr. Singh, yes, now there is a so called anti intellectual movement. People are rebelling against science and modern progress. Srila Prabhupada, and what is that science? It is not science, it is ignorance. Ignorance is passing for science, and irreligion is passing for religion. But this cheating cannot go on for long because some people are becoming intelligent. Dr. Singh, in Newsweek, one of the largest magazines in the United States, there was an article about the degradation of Christianity. The article included a cartoon picturing the devil causing earthquakes. There was recently a very large earthquake in South America that killed many thousands of people. The cartoon attributed such things to be the devil, and right next to him it showed Richard Nixon presenting himself as the follower of Christ but bombing Southeast Asia. In this cartoon, the devil turned to Richard Nixon and said, "It's hell keeping up with Christians." Srila Prabhupada. Yes, people will criticize in that way. People are becoming advanced. How long can they be cheated by so called science and so called religion? If Mr. Nixon loves his countrymen, why does he not love his country's cows? They are also born in the same land and they have the same right to live. Why are they killed? Thou shalt not kill, but the animals are being killed. That is imperfection. Krishna embraces both cows and Radharani. That is perfection. Krishna even talks with the birds. One day on the bank of the Yamuna river, he was talking with a bird because he speaks even in the languages of the birds. An old lady saw this and was struck with wonder. Oh, he is talking with a bird. Dr. Singh, you mean he was actually talking the way the birds talk? Srila Prabhupada. Yes, one of Krishna's quality described in the Vedas is that he can speak any language. He is the father of all living beings and the father can understand the language of his children. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. Actually, except for those who are Krishna conscious, no one can have any real knowledge nor can anyone enjoy. One simply suffers, but he thinks the suffering is enjoyment. This is called Maya or illusion. In America, people work hard day and night and they think, I am enjoying. This is Maya. A conditioned soul cannot enjoy anything. He simply suffers, but he thinks he is enjoying. Therefore, in Srimad Bhagavatam, the conditioned soul is likened to the camel. The camel is very fond of eating thorny twigs that cut his tongue. While he is eating them, blood issues from his tongue and mixes with the thorny twigs. They become a little tasty, and he is thinking, oh, these twigs are very nice. This is called Maya. Maya means that which is not. Ma means not, and Ya means this. So Maya means not this. That is the explanation of Maya or illusion. The scientists are in Maya because they think they are improving things and becoming happy. But this world, along with everything in it, will eventually be finished because it is Maya. It is not what we think it is. As Srimad Bhagavatam explains, the materialists are thinking they are becoming victorious, but they are actually being defeated. The 12th Morning Walk, recorded on May 17, 1973, a misty morning in Cheviot Hills Park, Los Angeles. Yogic weapons. Srila Prabhupada, you have no power to dry away the mist. Scientists merely explain it with some word jugglery, saying that it contains certain chemicals. He laughs. but they have no power to drive it away. Dr. Singh, they do have an explanation as to how the mist is formed. Srila Prabhupada, that they may have, and I may have that also, but that is not a very great credit. If you really know how it is formed, then you should be able to counteract it. Dr. Singh, we know how it is formed. Srila Prabhupada, then discover how to counteract it. Formerly in the Vedic warfare, the atomic Brahmastra was used, and to counteract it, the opposing army would have to use a weapon that would transform it into water. But where is such a science today? Dr. Singh, mist is something like milk. Milk looks white, but actually it is a colloidal suspension of certain protein molecules. Similarly, fog is a colloidal suspension of water. Srila Prabhupada. So if you could create some type of fire, the mist would be immediately driven away. Water can be driven away by fire, but you cannot do. If you were to explode a bomb, it would generate heat and all the mist would go away. Karandhara, that might damage the whole city. Srila Prabhupada, everyone knows that fire can counteract water, but you cannot drive away the mist without killing people or destroying property. But by nature's way, as soon as the sun rises, the mist is vanquished. The power of the sun is greater than your power. Therefore, you have to accept that inconceivable power exists.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Symptoms of
much.
God. Srila Prabhupada. Without accepting the principle of inconceivable power, no one can understand God. God is
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Rajdeep Prabhu, am I audible?
Yes, Ronnie, you are audible.
Okay. I think they are facing some internet issues. Rishita Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So we will, Mataji, can you read this last? We will just read one more section. Symptoms of God. So can you read the last?
Yes, Prabhuji. Symptoms of God, Srila Prabhupada. Without accepting the principle of inconceivable power, no one can understand God. God is not so cheap that any so called yogi can become God. Such imitation gods are for rascals and fools. Those who are intelligent will test whether or not such a person has inconceivable power. We accept Krishna as God because he
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
has demonstrated his inconceivable power. As a child, Krishna lifted a big hill, and Lord Rama, an incarnation of Krishna, constructed a bridge without pillars by floating stones on water. So one should not accept God cheaply. Nowadays, some rascal comes along and says, I am an incarnation of God, and another rascal accepts him. But Lord Rama and Lord Krishna actually demonstrated their inconceivable power. Sometimes people say the descriptions of their activities are just stories or myths, but these literatures were composed by Valmiki, Vyasdev, and other acharyas, who are all great and vastly learned sages. Why would these great sages simply waste their time writing mythology? They never said it was mythology, they treated the accounts as actual facts. For instance, in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasdev tells of a forest fire in Vrindavan. All of Krishna's cowherd boyfriends become disturbed and look to Krishna for help. He simply swallowed up the whole fire. That is inconceivable mystic power. That is God. Because we are tiny samples of God or Krishna, we also possess inconceivable mystic power within our bodies, but only in very minute quantities.
Hare Krishna. Uh, am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yes, thank you so much, Mataji. So we will stop here. It's already 8:15. So if you have any questions, then you can ask. Are there any questions? Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu ji.
Yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
प्रभु जी मैं इसमें एक चीज आपसे पूछना चाह रहा था, जहाँ पर प्रभुपाद जी ने वो समझाया था कि जैसे बताया था कि इलेक्ट्रिसिटी सब जगह होती है, पर जो इलेक्ट्रिशियन है वो से जानते हैं किस तरह से यूज करना है। जहाँ पे प्रभुपाद जी ऐसे समझा रहे थे कि डीटी वर्शिप किस तरह से सही है, तो वो वाला
Yes,
पार्ट
Prabhu.
एक बार समझा दीजिए प्रभु जी।
Yes, Prabhu ji. So, Prabhupada वहाँ पे ये बता रहे थे that everything belongs to Krishna and everything is Krishna's energy. But we we have to relate that thing to Krishna, back to Krishna. So in that sense, if we can see everything as part and parcel of him, there is a verse which comes in Ishopanishad that Ishavasam idam sarvam yena jagat kinchana, and that everything belongs to Krishna. And if in that sense, if we understand, so that is the Ishavasam principle. So and because so for example, we can also take an example of electricity also, like literally, say for example, if electricity is there and the same electricity is producing heat, and the same electricity can also produce cold air as well. So it only depends to how we are going to use it. And there the example was that everything is coming spiritually, but those who understand that yes, it is for Krishna's service, then that means they have understood it correctly. But if we understand that yes, that is for my mere bhogne ke liye, if it is for my sense gratification, so that means material. So we need to have that the vision of the Shastras. We need to have the Shastra Chakshus to understand that everything belongs to Krishna. And then if we see we see Krishna in each and everything. So that is the right understanding, or that is the understanding of Ishavasam principle. So that was being explained there, Prabhuji. That and those who understand that how to utilize that was the analogy that Prabhupada was giving, that electricity is there, but only electrician can know how to utilize it. So only the devotees can see Krishna everywhere in everything, and they know how to utilize everything in the service of the Lord. So in that sense, everything, because there Prabhupada also said that matter is not the source, spiritual is the source, matter is coming from the spirit, matter is coming from the spiritual. So spiritual is there, and from there matter is coming. So in that sense also we can say that everything is spiritual if we want to utilize that in the service of the Krishna, in service of Krishna. So in that sense we can take it, Prabhuji. Does that answer your question? Is this what you're asking?
Yes, Prabhu ji, it is clear now.
Yes. So what we have to see is that we have to relate everything back to Krishna, and we can see that. So then the same thing in which what we are using. So for example, if we are using this medium of connecting, the Zoom is there, and we have a microphone, we have a camera, we have laptops, we have mobiles. We can use these gadgets, we can use these medium for other things as well. But if we use it to utilize it in the service of Krishna, then means matter is becoming spiritualized. So in that sense, like I was also hearing one of the Prabhupada memory tapes also, and there also there was one Mataji which was showing Srila Prabhupada's dictaphone, and where Prabhupada used to record his books, and then it used to get translated and transcribed. And there she was showing that these were the instruments, or these were the things which Srila Prabhupada used. So that becomes spiritual because it has been used in the service of Krishna. And Prabhupada also writes that in Krishna book also, that that in this Prabhupada gives the same example, that if we utilize everything in the service of Krishna, that means spiritual. And here also there is a definition of Krishna consciousness which comes that I had noted it down, that to see everything in relation to Krishna is called Krishna consciousness, and how to use everything in service of Krishna, that is also called Krishna consciousness. So Krishna consciousness means that we see everything in relation to Krishna, and we utilize everything, and we dovetail our daily activities, our daily usage in service of Krishna. So that is in a simple language Krishna consciousness. So is that okay, Rajdeep Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yes, Rishta Mataji, go ahead. You have a question? Oh, you had raised your hand, or was it for a reading? Maybe.
Yeah, it might be for reading.
Might be for reading. Okay, so do we have any more questions? Or if you want to share anything which you liked, 1 or 2 points, and then maybe, because there were lots of good, nice things which we read today. आज हमने बहुत अच्छे से पढ़ा, and maybe in our next session the book will be over, because it has 16 conversations only, and we are already at 12th. So maybe by next session the book will be over, and then we can see that what do we want to start new, and that we can see. Okay, so no more questions, so we'll end the session here only. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for attending the session.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.